All right, so Jay, after that lengthy discussion over the dunk contest, which
Hey man, there was a lot of variables to both of those.
There were some feelings in that discussion that I didn't know were there for either of us.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. So, but we end with the actual All-Star game: Team LeBron versus Team Durant, with Team LeBron cruising to a 170-150 victory over Team Durant without Kevin Durant and without Joel Embiid, along with Ben Simmons.
And Ben Simmons.
Yeah, due to COVID protocols.
Yeah, which we didn't really get into that at the beginning of this. But yeah, that was unfortunate. And it was something that was kind of expected, for me to be quite honest. I knew that someone was going to end up hit with contact tracing due to just standard protocol, standard daily stuff.
It would be Joel Embiid of all
Yeah,
people.
he always gets lucky with that kind of stuff. But, I'm not mad at them for that because this happened in Philly. It didn't happen in Atlanta.
Right.
That was the bad part. It's like he didn't even make it there. He was at home getting just normal prepared and, they all get haircuts on a regular basis. So, and then it hit. But, yeah, we didn't get them. So now we have the game.
Right. So what grade would you give the game and why?
So I'm going to give the game a B+. It was... So I watched about 88% of it. I missed probably sections of the second and third periods. I love the new format. That's one thing. I've never been big on the All-Star game ever since right before they created the team get this guy versus team this guy. I haven't been a big All-Star because most time All-Star, they don't really care. They don't take it seriously. They don't go after each other. They're just there because they're just there so they don't get fined. That's what it always feels like. Well, when they changed the format to where it's a quarter by quarter piece and then you have the final number at the end, that to me felt like, oh, we're here. This is competition that we wanted. This is the defenses that we wanted all game long instead of, or just the fun of a combination of not just lack of defense, but other variables that we've always wanted. So I give it a B+. Steph and Dame was so much fun. LeBron passing it to Steph was so much fun. LeBron as a GM was so much fun. I think that's really what it was. LeBron as a GM. What about you?
I'm going to give it a B-.
Uh-oh. You got questions then.
Did Team Durant even want to be there?
Well, they lost, 3 people?
Yeah. They had no energy. They weren't having fun. They weren't having, like Jerry Jones, they weren't having fun. And I think part of the reason why is because, and this sounds crazy to say this, but I think that Kevin Durant did a very poor job constructing this team. If LeBron James did a great job, and I know that sounds crazy to say when you have all-stars and stars, but his mixture, and I watched him when they picked these teams, I knew even then his mixture was not going to work. I knew that even then he already screwed himself by the second pick because everybody knew who his first pick had to be, and that was World B. Flat. So LeBron,
I love that name. That's so funny. I love that name. That's so great.
LeBron James, obviously with the first pick, took Giannis, and then Kevin Durant took Kyrie Irving, which left Steph Curry, which left Luka, etc. So I already knew from the very beginning that LeBron was going to have the better team, and I knew that they were already going to be behind not having Kevin Durant to play in this game. But this All-Star team, that's the first time I've seen an All-Star team who looked like they didn't want to be there. They looked like they'd rather be in Magic City with Lou Williams with the plate full of lemon pepper wings. That's what they really wanted to be doing. Or maybe they did that before the game as a team, and then they were sluggish in this game. But I didn't enjoy seeing that. How do you lose all 4 quarters? I have never seen that. And you lose for the United Negro College Fund.
Yes.
You didn't get a cent from anything that happened in that game. I mean, they did outside of that, but that was an embarrassment.
It really was. And it as you said, it looked like Team Durant did not want to be there.
And it's almost like they didn't have a coach. They didn't know when to pick and choose their spots to go on a run because that's exactly what Team LeBron was doing and having fun doing it. You could tell those guys were having fun.
That team was stacked, though. That's the thing. Though.
Yes.
You had a team full of passers and shooters. It was well, of course, I jokingly always say sharing is caring. Mm-hmm. And to be quite honest, on the basketball court with a bunch of stars, sharing really is caring.
Yeah.
Like they care about that. They enjoy when the ball is moving around and they're just willy-nilly. Because the thing about it, none of them have to even question if the ball was ever coming back to them.
Right.
LeBron's a natural-born passer, and so is Jokic. Jokic will put up shots here and there, but if you notice in this, LeBron was literally just dropping dimes nonstop. And then Chris Paul had 16 assists. He's the all-time assist leader ever. And
Yes, he is.
in the All-Star game. So, yeah, they played as if this was an audition for everyone to become teammates one of these days. That's what it felt like. It felt like it was like, look, guys, even in the trenches of an actual serious game, if we were to play together, you know how much fun we'd have? Mm-hmm. And then you saw the buddiness that came afterwards with Steph tweeting Dame Lillard's shot, how they were going back and forth, and then Dame's like, yep, real, blah, blah, blah. He tweeted him back. LeBron tweeting out, I finally got on the court with Steph and loved it.
Exactly.
And Steph's like 100.
Exactly.
They were all having a blast.
Exactly.
And it seemed like everybody on Team Durant hate each other.
Exactly.
In some way, or it was more so because it was the Nets and everybody else, and that's kind of how the Nets are constructed today.
Exactly. So there's not much you can do about that because it was Kevin Durant's choices. He chose his team, and it was kind of unfair because LeBron, this was the fourth time that he's been in the spot. Now he's 4-0 because, like you said, he is the best player GM in basketball and of the All-Star game. But go ahead.
I'll say this, though.
Yes.
Now, this is one part I will agree with you with all the young bucks in the world that have issues. At my correction, you and the old folks, us oldies out there that complain about the league back in our day. The buddiness of today is the bothersome thing, even though if you actually know how the league ran, that's a lie because they were buddies in the 90s. But that's another conversation for another day.
Okay.
This is where I agree with old people. The fact that Kevin Durant drafted his teammates bothered me. That bothered me. I get you do that for chemistry purposes. This is an all-star game. You go after the best players possible. And his first pick was Kyrie Irving. And then his next first pick for the reserves was James Harden.
Yeah.
Why you got to pick your teammates?
I can't fault him for the James Harden pick, but I somewhat agree with you with the Kyrie Irving pick because there were plenty of players ahead of him that he probably should have taken. And his second pick wasn't very good either. I think it was Kawhi Leonard. Now, Kawhi, yes, he was the All-Star Game MVP last year, but there were other players ahead of him that he should have chosen. He gifted the game to LeBron.
To me, yeah, he probably should have went ahead and went after the shooter. He probably should have took Steph over Kyrie, and it's not because Kyrie is a worse player than Steph. I think Kyrie doesn't really take the All-Star game that serious.
He didn't even have sense enough to get Luka Doncic. How does anybody defeat a team with Luka, Steph, Jokic, Giannis, and LeBron?
The fact that it was first LeBron and then Giannis, he should have probably picked Luka just to keep the sides going. Because, that's the thing that Durant had to remember. If Durant was playing in this game, I get picking your teammates. You're not playing in this game. Why do you care? That was my issue. Yeah. You're not playing in this game. And because you're not playing this game, you should have matched up size to size, player to player. You should have made it more fun. You shouldn't even pick Kyrie next. You knew LeBron wasn't going to pick him, so you guaranteed to have him at the end of the round.
But at the same time, though, in Kevin Durant's defense, and I was Kevin Durant for our draft last week, I don't think he had a choice. As sensitive as Kyrie Irving is, he would have felt a certain way about that.
Jimmy.
There wouldn't be enough sage for him to burn the bad vibes between him and KD if he didn't choose him first.
Jimmy, he knows that LeBron was not going to pick Kyrie.
I think LeBron would have picked Kyrie.
With all the shade that's gone back and forth between the two over the last couple months, LeBron would not have picked Kyrie.
He would have picked Kyrie.
Nope. Third pick, if Kevin Durant had picked Luka.
You mean as his next pick?
Yes.
Okay.
If Kevin Durant picked Luka, LeBron would have picked Steph.
Okay.
After that, he could have picked Kyrie.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, eventually
just add the size, but at a certain point, before the last pick, he should not have picked. He shouldn't have picked Kyrie to the third or fourth pick.
Well, there could have been some sort of...
Well, I'm sorry, the second or third pick.
Or even, and this probably is collusion, it is, but there could have been some sort of gentleman's agreement maybe. I don't know what that conversation would have looked like between Durant and LeBron about...
Well, I mean, they're cool.
Yeah, so just, I'm going to grab Kyrie later on. I don't know what he would
You
say.
don't need to. You don't need to because Lamar's like, you
no
good?
conversation,
I'm
yeah.
not going to pick him anyway. That's the issue here, guys, is that why do you have to pick his teammate? That's the
Right.
problem. That's the issue I had with it. He should not have. I get picking James because who was picked first in the bench? Did Kevin Durant pick first
Kevin
on the
Durant picked
reserves?
first, yes.
He did, so that makes sense to pick James Harden because that is a logical pick.
Yeah.
I think out of reserves, he's probably the best one out of all of them. Yeah, I would have gone with that as well. He should, yeah.
I'll give you a prediction in advance before we move on to one last piece of this real quick. Is next year, I think it's still going to be LeBron picking. I think Zion might be the other captain picking against him next year. How likely or unlikely do you think that is?
How? Aren't the captains by conference?
His crap, they are. Dang it.
Zero
Dang it.
zero
Well, I was
possibility
saying
for
that to
Zion.
say that his popularity is just going to continue, especially if they make the playoffs. It's going to continue to go up and up to where next year he's going to be the one getting over 5 million votes and not Kevin Durant.
Next year to be Durant again.
Yeah, he probably will, but yeah.
It'll be Durant.
I can
Again.
read that.
It'll be Durant versus LeBron again, or if anybody does take that spot away from LeBron,
It'll be Zion?
It'll either be Zion. It'll be Zion or Steph. And the only reason
see
why,
that.
and Steph, because he's finally gonna probably play a full year and he's gonna be back healthy and everyone's gonna pay attention to him doing his great things. But I can see Zion taking that away from him next year,
Right.
or Luka, because people are starting to buy in on him.
I agree.
So good prediction. So
Just last
wrap it
thing,
up.
So the focus on HBCUs throughout the day of this
Yeah, I thought that was
NBA
pretty
All-Star
cool.
Weekend, I thought that was real cool. I think that that's something obviously we haven't seen done on this type of a stage from any other major American sport. And I know that, it takes more than this. It takes more than donations. But I think that this went beyond this. I mean, I think a big part of it was, in a sense, there was this appreciation that was communicated for HBCUs, which, again, isn't enough to elevate HBCUs to where they need to be or to where they will be. But this is something that I don't think any other major American sport would ever do. Maybe the NFL, but I doubt it. So I really give a lot of credit to the NBA for doing that because they lost viewership. They did for that. The second that people were tuning in to watch this, certain people who don't appreciate this and knew where this was going and that this is going to be throughout this entire day,
Oh, yeah.
they turned to something else. So, I appreciate the NBA for what they did.
I agree. I'm with you on that. Thank you, NBA, for that shining light on HBCUs, continuing the social justice movements. I'm not sure why people don't like justice, but at the same time, there are those out there who do. So,
Correct.
good job, NBA. I did like that also.